Students, I am Vishnu Prasad, BITM Mechanical Engineering Department. So already I have explained about the different types of gearboxes and how they are going to function. So today I am going to explain in this class about the overdrive, fluid flywheel, torque converter and freewheel mechanism. So first we'll go for about the overdrive. So what is overdrive, where we require overdrive and how it works, I am going to explain you. So the overdrive, when the gearbox has been shifted to high speed gear, in this sense when you are in the top gear, so the ratio between the clutch shaft, that is the speed that we are going to get out from the crankshaft, and the gearbox main shaft will be in the ratio of 1:1. So the overdrive unit is located exactly at the back of the transmission between the gearbox and the propeller shaft. So the overdrive allows the engine to operate only at 70% of the propeller shaft. In the sense, suppose the engine, if the engine is running at 70%, so the propeller shaft will be running at 100%. Means the 30% extra speed it will be running. So the overdrive mechanism is a special equipment used to turn the main shaft at a greater speed than the clutch shaft. Overdrive is the highest gear in transmission system. It is called highest gear in the sense we are going to get the top speed. Okay, so the overdrive allows the engine to operate at lower RPM for a given road speed. So even at a low speed we can run the engine. So for better fuel efficiency and quiet in operation, especially this overdrive is used in the highways and in the slopey areas. So it can be switched off in mountain areas when there is a more load or when there is a more load. So that is nothing but suppose we are driving a vehicle in the mountain areas, then the overdrive will be switched off so that we are going to get the required speed. So it is overdrive is applicable only in the highways, in the long drives, and when the roads are in the good condition. So how it works, now I am going to explain you. So you can see in the figure that there is a ring gear which is attached to the overdrive output shaft, and three planet pinions are mounted on the cage. The sun gear may be locked. So when the sun gear is locked, the output shaft of the overdrive and the transmission main shaft, when the sun gear is locked, the planetary action will drive the internal gear faster than the cage and the clutch hub. So when the sun gear is locked, we are going to get the output speed greater than the input speed, input shaft. That is nothing but the clutch gear. So by this we can increase the speed when we are driving in the hilly areas like slopes and when the road is in good condition. So the main function of the overdrive is to reduce the engine power, and we are going to get the same speed, and also it is acts as a fuel economy. So this is the function of the overdrive, and at the same time the overdrive can be switched off when we are climbing in the hill areas and when there is a heavy load. So that is about the overdrive. Next we have fluid flywheel coupling. So the below figure you can see that is a fluid flywheel coupling. So it is also called fluid flywheel or fluid coupling. So what is the fluid flywheel and fluid coupling means? It's a device used to transmit the rotation speed between the shafts by means of acceleration of an hydraulic fluid. So it is nothing but it acts as a coupling. Suppose if the fluid coupling is filled with the hydraulic fluid, it consists of a impeller which acts as a input shaft, or it is also called as the driving shaft, and a runner, or it is also called as a driven shaft. So the impeller, when it accelerates, so the fluid will be coming out tangentially at a higher velocity, so with greater kinetic energy. So this higher kinetic energy fluid, when it impinges on the other side of the shaft, that is the runner blades. It is also called as a driven shaft, so which will be rotated. So this is called as the fluid coupling. Nothing but with the help of the fluid we are going to transmit the rotational speed from the driving member to the driven member. So this is about the fluid flywheel coupling. So you can, in the figure you can observe that we have a driving rotor on the top left side, a driven rotor on the right side. In between we have a crankshaft, and on the right side we have a transmission shaft. So the fluid will, when the driving member rotates, here tangentially the fluid will be entered into the driven rotor. So this accelerates the transmission shaft, and it couples, and the power will be transmitted, same rotational speed will be transmitted to the transmission shaft. So this is how the rotational speed from the crankshaft will be transmitted to the transmission shaft. So this is how the fluid flywheel works. Okay, so that is about the fluid flywheel coupling. So in the next slide I am going to explain you about the torque converter and free wheel mechanism. Okay.